Hey folks, so today is Thanksgiving and I'm looking at my Sarracenias, and the flowers, I usually don't cut them off until they've dried out for the year. So I will go and cut these flowers off, and I'll save the seed pod from which I'll use to basically grow more of these from seeds. So I like to wait till springtime to start trimming these as the weather warms, because this way they provide an added protection from, like, if we have a really, really extremely cold day. Even though Sarracenias are temperate pitcher plants, or, and some like the Sarracenia purpurea are found all the way up into Canada, but it just helps them, if need be, to give them a little extra protection. But yeah, I'm basically just harvesting all these seeds from them, and then I'll be able to cold stratify in the refrigerator and plant them. But yeah, the seeds are located inside these pods. This is not the seed itself. The seeds are much smaller, but if I crack one open at the moment, I'll lose this. Oh, yeah, I'll keep that on there. I'll lose them, but I have a good batch of seeds from the ones on the left, the ones on the right. I really didn't get too many off them this year. It didn't flower as much as it did for some reason. I am not sure why, but I forgot to bring a container to put them in, but you can see how many I have already. I mean, whoops, and I'm dropping them as well. So you can see the number of seeds, pods, and this one would have cracked open eventually. And in a colder environment, the seeds would be more viable, but as far as... Whoa! There was some bug on there. Let's see if I draw... Yeah, the bug's gone. Okay. Whew. Oh, no. Don't know what that is. If it's a spider or something else. Anyway, let's see. We have more seeds. I guess I should be wearing gloves if there are creatures climbing in here to stay warm, but today is actually quite a warm day. It's in the 50s at the moment. Oops. So now we get to the fun part, trying to find all of the flowers in case I missed any. And I found one. And that might be about it. So these are the seed pods that I extracted. So now I get to take the seeds out. So one time I harvested the pod from the Sarracenias that had dried out earlier this year, so I have the seeds in here. So now I have these pods, and what I'm going to do is just break them off like this, and seeing what seeds lurk within them. Some of these will be dry. This one had one seed, and these little tiny ones are, they may not be viable ones, but anyway. Then we take the next one and we open it. And this one too, there are the seeds. I almost need a little brush for them, don't I? But as you can see, this is a tedious endeavor to get the seeds. Of course, these seeds will not be viable unless they're cold stratified, and I have a video on cold stratification where several months ago I had my first attempt at cold stratifying seeds to much success. Okay. It's like I almost need a brush, as mentioned. Then all the little fiber stuff I can brush out of the way. Is that a seed? Yep. Or if I have a sifter, and that's one thing one person can do, is use a sifter to separate the seeds from the other particles. And you know, if you're trying to grow plants to sell, you want to maximize the number of plants you can grow to have enough inventory. And right now I'm just experimenting and learning how to get these seeds. And I have some seedlings. And the seedlings from when I successfully cold stratified earlier this year, I have had them remain small for months. And a lot of plants will remain small for a year or two before they get a growth spurt, especially when they're perennials. And then they'll grow and become adult plants. So that's not something to worry about. The issue is when you're trying to keep the seeds alive, the little seedlings alive until they grow bigger. So some people will have them under light for extremely long periods, literally like 24/7, just to make sure they can grow big, but you also want to make sure any heat generated from the lights, and even some LEDs will generate heat, albeit a lot less. You want to make sure that they're not going to dry out the seeds, and you don't necessarily want them in a completely sealed environment unless you can do so where they won't develop mold on them. But also, since Sarracenias are temperate plants, not tropical, they don't need to be in an extremely humid environment. You could increase the humidity a bit, but since they don't need to be, they're not a plant where you grow in a humid environment and then try to acclimate per se to a less humid environment. But I did not see any seeds from that pod, and sometimes they will be dry. So let's see. This one looks like it was dead or overly dried out. I didn't see any seeds from that, and sometimes that will happen. So if you buy your seeds online and someone is selling seed pods, make sure you have an adequate amount in the purchase and not just a random one, because then you're just playing Russian roulette trying to see if you get one that's loaded or not. So that's the thing, and some of these are not. Let's see, I have 5 more to go. We'll see if they have any more or not. So sometimes I wonder if the fact that some of these have, let's see, well, none of these remaining ones do, but sometimes they'll have little cracks, right there where they split open, and that may be where some seeds get lost before you harvest. So you just hope that they'll sprout in the spring naturally on their own. Yeah, most of the seed pods this year don't seem to be too viable. Oh, there were a couple seeds in that one. You saw where I shook them out from. I wonder if I use a sharp knife and I slice these open, if I'll have better luck extracting seeds, but you can see the seeds are in the cavities. So if I open this up, there's one seed. And let's see, there's another. And another. Okay, and there's one. Here's one. Whoops. Here are two. I don't know if using my finger to push down and press against them to get them may help like compromise the outer shell, so when I cold stratify I have more success or not. So let's see. Oh, there's a seed. No, that wasn't a seed. Anyway, I'm going to take what I can from these. If I don't get all the seeds, then I'm not going to be too worried. What I might do is save all these husks and put them over the Sarracenias, and this way, if any seeds are in there, they might sprout naturally on their own, but right now I have these seeds, I moved them, and they're in one town, and the Sarracenias, which I harvested them from, are in another town. So anyway, I'm just moving this to see if I can find any extra seeds. And that's the bulk of them. So this is my seed harvest for the year. Was my seed harvest for the year. So let me now scoop these up. But in doing so, I got rid of some of the dust, and I can also blow lightly to try and kick some of the dust out of there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're inspired to try cold stratifying your own seeds or harvesting your own seeds even. And thanks for watching, and happy planting.